Ever since ChatGPT dropped, the big fear in education has been that it's just a high-tech shortcut for cheating. But what if that's completely wrong? What if using it for your homework could actually make you smarter? We're about to dive into a groundbreaking study that totally flips that idea on its head. I mean, this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Is AI a partner for learning, or is it just the ultimate cheating tool? When this thing exploded onto the scene, you can bet educators everywhere they were a little panicked. Suddenly, students could write an entire essay in seconds. So people had to ask, is this the end of learning as we know it, or maybe, just maybe, the start of something totally new? Well, instead of just sitting around and debating, one university decided, hey, let's actually find out. They decided to put it to the test in a real classroom with real students and a real assignment. They wanted to get some actual data. And get this, they moved fast. ChatGPT comes out in November 2022. By March 2023, these researchers in Cyprus were already running this live study. They knew this question was way too important to just sit around and guess about. They needed answers, and they needed them now.
So they set up this really cool head-to-head competition. The goal was super simple. Pit the old school way of doing research against using ChatGPT and see which group of students really learned more.
Okay, so here's how they did it. They took 77 second-year dental students and split them into two groups. One group had to do their assignment the traditional way, searching the internet, looking through academic journals. The other group, they could only use ChatGPT. Both had the exact same assignment, but here's the kicker. After they turned it in, they all got hit with a surprise knowledge test to see who actually retained the information.
All right, this is where it gets really good. So the projects are in, and bam, that surprise test hits. And the results? Well, let's just say they were not what most people would have ever predicted. Before I show you the data, just take a second to guess. Who do you think did better? The students using reliable textbooks and scientific articles, or the ones who were just talking to an AI that, let's be honest, is famous for sometimes making stuff up?
Check this out. The ChatGPT group scored higher. And not just by a little bit. Their average score was noticeably higher than the group using traditional research. I mean, wow.
And this wasn't just a fluke either. The result was statistically significant. You see that little p-value there? That's just a fancy way of saying there's a really, really small chance, less than 5%, that this happened by random luck. The data shows the students who used AI genuinely learned the material better. So the big question is, why? Well, to figure that out, the researchers did something really smart. They had the students keep diaries about their experience. And what they wrote, it tells this fascinating story about what it's actually like to learn with an AI.
Listen to this one student. They said, "In the beginning, I was afraid, but as I was discussing with it, I understood its greatness." That word discussing is so important. A lot of them started out kind of skeptical, but they were totally won over. It felt more like a conversation, like a study buddy, not just a cold search engine. So yeah, the students loved it for a bunch of reasons. It felt human-like, gave them immediate answers, and was great for just getting initial ideas. Some even called the experience revolutionary. But it wasn't perfect. And as it turns out, the flaws were just as important as the benefits. They pretty much immediately ran headfirst into ChatGPT's biggest weaknesses. As this student put it, the answers just weren't as detailed and satisfactory as what they could get from their textbook. The AI was kind of superficial. And it wasn't just that. They saw the hallucinations, when the AI just makes up fake citations. It couldn't give them images or videos, and they had to be really careful about how they phrased their questions to get anything useful. All these limitations were actually super important. And here is the absolute key insight of the whole study. The struggles they had, the AI's flaws, they weren't a bug. They were a feature. Because they couldn't just copy-paste a perfect answer, the students were forced to engage more deeply. They had to think, to question, to check the facts. And that struggle is what led to better learning. This is my favorite part. It just shows how creative they got. ChatGPT can't make PowerPoint slides, right? So what did they do? They asked it to write programming code that would then generate the PowerPoint for them. I mean, come on. They were solving problems and pushing the tool in ways nobody even expected. Okay. So, stepping back, what does all this mean for the future of learning? This study gives us a totally different way to think about AI's role in the classroom. So you've got the common fear on one side, right? That AI is just a cheating tool that makes students lazy. But what this study found is, actually, it can be a learning partner, a tool that actually fosters deeper engagement and critical thinking because it forces you to work for the answer.
So here's the bottom line. The tool is only as good as the person using it. And what this tells us is that the crucial thing is teaching students how to use it right, to be skeptical, to verify everything, to use it creatively. If we do that, AI isn't a threat. It's a huge opportunity.
And that leaves us with a really big question for the future. If AI can actually be a tool for deeper learning, then how do our classrooms need to change? This study strongly suggests that just banning it is absolutely the wrong move. The real challenge now isn't about stopping kids from using AI, it's about figuring out how to harness it to unlock a whole new and more powerful way to learn.